All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Wrestling Retold and Relive with Richie Mars. I know it's been a hot minute, but I gotta recalibrate everything, gotta reset, recharge. Now we're back in the new year, and of course, I had to kick it off with a bang. So I called in the troops in order to get this idea off the ground, which is wrestling ideas in WWE that almost happened but didn't and got scrapped for whatever reason. And we're going to determine whether they were good, they needed to be scrapped, or if we thought that it could have gone a little bit further. But enough about me. I'm going to introduce our three guests. First, from the North-South Connection, I have Mr. Ryan Gray. Ryan, how we doing?
Richie, what's good, buddy? I know we
Yeah.
do a lot together, so but I'm glad to be back on your platform. I'm glad
Yeah.
well, first of all, I'm glad you are doing pods again.
Yeah.
So congratulations there. And I'm looking forward to being in front of this fun project you got going on here.
Thank you very much. And coming up next, we have Learning the Ropes Master, MJ Duplessis. MJ, this is your first time on Wrestling Retold and Relive with Richie Mars. Welcome.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm super fucking excited. Some of my favorite shit.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, we've done a couple things together, and again, we have good rapport, and I always like that.
Yes.
And last but certainly not least, he actually got the most popular episode from last year, the Main Event Mafia episode, if you want to check
Oh.
that out now. Mr. Husky Rhodes. Husky.
Hello, hello, hello. Yeah, it's good to be back, man. That Main Event Mafia episode was really fun to do.
Honestly, like just us quoting Scott Steiner. It's
Jack, son of a bitch. It's the
it's the one that lives rent free in my head when everyone says like what is your favorite part? I'm like, it's probably that.
it's just any Scott Steiner promo during the Main Event Mafia.
Yeah, it's like I get everyone 11 days a week. There are 7 days. Wait, I know what I'm talking about.
What do I think I do? Play the guitar? I don't play the guitar. All I do is beat people up.
Quoting Scott is so much fun.
It's the best. I love it.
Unfortunately, Scott Steiner is not on this wheel, but again, limited it to 50. There is a Scott Steiner idea for the future, but that's if this episode does well. We'll see what happens, but I'm sure there are going to be plenty of others. So I have the wheel. This is proof that this wheel is not weighted. It's not rigged in any way.
No
So I'm
NXT
gonna,
Halloween Havoc wheel.
yep, I'm gonna hit the button,
Oh,
and whatever storyline pops up, I'm going to be talking about briefly on what the idea was, what replaced the idea, or what scrapped it entirely. Everybody sounds ready? Sounds good? All right, here we
Yes,
go.
sir.
Spin the wheel of Jeopardy. No whammies, no whammies, no whammies. All right, let's see what we got here. And Ted DiBiase, WWF champion.
Excellent.
Ooh.
All right, I'm going to
Ooh.
remove that real quick. I spelled DiBiase wrong, so that's also cool. All right, so Ted DiBiase as the WWF champion. The original idea was, of course, Ted being champion. But later down the card, you had the Intercontinental champion, the greatest Intercontinental champion who ever lived, the Honky Tonk Man, refused to have the title transferred to Macho Man Randy Savage, and Macho Man was the solid number 2 to Hulk Hogan at that time period. So because Honky Tonk Man refused, Macho Man got a promotion, so to speak, and became WWF champion at WrestleMania 4, which led to the creation of Ted DiBiase's $1 Million Championship. Now, Ryan, I'm going to throw it over to you first. Do you remember this rumor, or do you remember this rumor being talked about? And how impactful do you think it was for the future of the WWF?
Well, when you first brought this up, all I could think about was the Mega Powers exploding, right? And
Mhm.
by not going with Ted DiBiase, who I like and who I think is obviously worthy of being a WWF champion, we got the Mega Powers exploding. So would it have been DiBiase for champion for a whole calendar year, and then Hogan regaining at 5, like the plan is the plan, and we would have not had the Mega Powers, and we would have had like some iteration of DiBiase running roughshod for a year? I don't know if I'm all in favor for that. I think that how they did it with Hebner and all that stuff works much better with the tournament and then crowning Randy and whatnot. So I think, and of course, the Mega Powers is a top 3 story in company history. So I would stick pat with that one, Richie. I think I would. But if DiBiase were to be champion instead of Andre for that split second, I guess he was, but they don't honor it, right? So
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't revisionist history. I don't think I would really want to go down too much of a lane there because of what we got from 88 to 89 with Mach and Hulk.
Right. And something to keep in mind is hypothetically, if Macho Man did become Intercontinental Champion,
Yeah.
then if the Mega Powers do happen that year later, it would be theoretically WWF Champ versus Intercontinental Champion. So we
Yeah.
would have gotten that a year sooner if that was going to still be in the cards.
Yeah, but who thought the Honky Tonk Man was so important historically?
That's
Himself? That's it?
Himself.
MJ, what do you have to say about DiBiase as WWE champion? Missed opportunity, or they went the correct route?
I think they did go the correct route. As much as I don't want to give Hulk Hogan credit for anything, I think the Mega Powers exploding was the right thing. I love Ted. I've loved Ted. I love his stuff in Mid South. But yeah, that makes it made a lot more sense where they went with the storyline.
Husky?
Yeah, I agree that it was kind of the right call to make to have the Mega Powers explode. It is kind of wild that we never really got like a full Ted DiBiase World Heavyweight Championship run, because he definitely had the talent for it.
Yeah,
but I agree that it was kind of the right thing to do to make Savage champion.
Yeah, I agree. Full 100%. We're all in agreement. The most surprising thing about this is that Honky Tonk Man had the stroke to deny.
Right?
Who would have thought to have that gimmick have that much pull backstage?
He was Hogan's boy. He was Hogan's
I
boy.
was,
he
he
was
was
Hogan's
kissing
boy.
Hogan's ass.
Yeah, he was
Hogan
Hogan's boy.
But I've
handpicked him to
heard
be
of
IC champ. Yeah.
I've never heard of a promoter being like, I'm sorry, we're not going to let you win the secondary title. Here's the world title instead.
Right.
Yeah, that's the wild part.
All right. So we're going to go to storyline number 2. I have the wheel started right here. Let's see. We're going. No whammies, gentlemen. And we're going to talk about Hade Vanson versus The Undertaker. Now, I know what you all are thinking. Who is Hade Vanson? I'm glad each and every one of you asked. So, in SmackDown 2009, there was a vignette of a character where they were talking very cryptically. This is when SmackDown moved to My 9, and the idea, and Freddie Prinze Jr. was a part of the writing team at the time.
Of course he was.
Where it was almost like the son of The Undertaker, where it was Hade Vanson, and the build-up to WrestleMania 25 would be Hade Vanson having all these different mutants and different dark characters go after The Undertaker to face off at WrestleMania 25, which it would then be revealed that Hade Vanson will be The Undertaker's son. Now, I know what you're thinking.
This.
Yeah, that is his face. I know what you're all thinking. That sounds like a terrible idea. Kind of. But just for the insanity of it all, I would be very curious to see what it was. Now, why this plan got dropped was because in the midst of filming these storylines, and Vince approved it all, but of course, you had Triple H in on the creative meeting, and he just said, he's like, the guy looks like he can cut my grass, and then Vince laughed, and then the gimmick got kibosh from there, and also his height worked against him. Now, Hade Vanson was later interviewed saying that, yeah, it's like when Freddie was telling me all this, he's like, yeah, I'll believe it when I see it. I know it's too good to be true, which, later turned out to be right. So, Husky, I'm going to throw to you first. What is your thoughts on this wacky and wild story?
See, this was a time when I really wasn't watching wrestling that much, especially like the WWE product. Mm-hmm. Just out of morbid curiosity, I would love to see where it would go. Like, just hearing about it now, I'm like, okay, yeah, I kind of want to see this thing play out. So yeah, I'm kind of like, they kind of dropped the ball because this could have been gold, probably. Who knows?
Yeah, potentially. Apparently, Freddie was very impressed with this man's acting chops, and even got advice from Freddie Prinze Jr. about acting.
Because
had he worked anywhere before?
No, he was in developmental, and like this is when like FCW was the thing. I think he had a short stint down there,
Okay.
Freddie pitched the idea, hey, we want him to call up, and Freddie like recounts this in his podcast as well. And just hearing about it, like being the son of the Undertaker, I think we've all like in like the 90s thought about, it's like, oh, Undertaker, Kane, there's this whole family of just like disturbed people. So Ryan, I'm gonna throw it to you real quick. Do you remember this story? And we were, instead of Shawn Michaels versus the Undertaker, we wouldn't gotten this at WrestleMania 25.
Yeah, what bullshit that would have been, right? We coming off the best storyline ever in the previous topic. Now we're gonna ruin one of the best matches in company history with this Vance nonsense. It's interesting to a point, but just the timing of it all was just threw me off right away, Richie. Right? Maybe post WrestleMania, leading into like an Unforgiven or a B pay-per-view, but all that for a WrestleMania, especially around the lore of WrestleMania with the Undertaker at the height of the streak and everything. It just feels like a missed time pushed. And do you know the height on this guy? You said he was a little short.
He worked a lot in the UK scene.
Okay.
In the early 2000s.
Okay.
And in Puerto Rico.
Okay.
Okay.
They got him off of his IWA Puerto Rico run. Where he was a top heel.
Okay. All right. So interesting.
I believe he was like a little bit south of 6 foot.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're still in the land of giants a little bit in the late 20s or the late aughts, early 2010s, a little bit, I guess, right? So I guess there is a stigma to the height as well. So yeah, it's interesting. It just feels like it's a little bit trying to make a lot of a little, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, a little how I kind of think of that.
Trying to outkick your coverage a little bit.
Yeah, and it seems a little dated too with the Undertaker family romance. Honestly, this is why they went with the Undertaker and Kane in 2010 because they had to go back to the well with that. Jeez, right? So interesting.
That's what you got to do. MJ, you're familiar with Hayden Vanson and his career. Do you
Yes.
think it would have worked?
Not one bit.
Even with the mutants?
This is as disturbing as hearing that Bruce Pritchard once pitched Roadkill from ECW as a WrestleMania opponent from The Undertaker.
Unfortunately, not on the list, but
he pitched Roadkill as somebody for Mania for Taker.
Yeah.
Look, I love me some Roadkill, but come on now.
Yeah.
Like they were really high on Roadkill when they were starting the new ECW, and they kind of like rebooted the whole Amish character where it's like, oh, this is gonna be the guy. But don't worry, there might be a secret Undertaker opponent on here on this list later down the line if we land on it. Speaking of which, I'm gonna hit the little wheel right now. Let's see, no whammies. Let's see what we're going here. Ooh, and it is the Matt Hardy Mark Henry tag team. Now, I know what you're thinking. Those are very two random 2K generated people right there. And I agree.
Yeah.
So, the story was we're leading up to WrestleMania 20. One of the biggest WrestleManias to that point. Madison Square Garden, all that. And apparently the story was Rob Van Dam, Booker T recently won the World Tag Team titles, and the opponents were going to be Matt Hardy and Mark Henry, with Matt Hardy linking Mattitude to Mark Henry's ethnicity.
Because he was with Teddy Long and...
Yeah, Teddy Long, Rodney Mack.
Yes, and Chris Nowinski at this point.
Yeah, Chris, he did retire, but he wasn't retired, so it's like he was still kind of like in the faction. But Matt Hardy said this was the most uncomfortable pitch that he's ever been given, and for good reason. And he said in his RF video shoot that pretty much he would talk differently and compare Mattitude to oppression, so to speak.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
So, MJ, I'm going to throw to you. For this wouldn't have worked, right?
No, not at all. And I'm disturbed and uncomfortable talking about this, and I'm upset that you asked me first.
I'm sorry, everyone has to go first, and I already made Ryan and Joe go first for these.
Touche, I respect it.
There's a rotation.
No, this wouldn't have worked at all, and could have ruined two people's careers.
Correct, yeah.
Actually, you could have ruined fucking at least 3 or 4 because fucking where you see Teddy Long and
and
the
Rodney
rest of
Mack
that
go
stuff.
from
Yeah.
this.
I mean,
Yeah.
Rodney didn't have a career much after this WrestleMania 20.
But still,
He left that
Husky.
is
oh no, that's the biggest crock of dog shit I've ever heard in my life. That would not have worked. You couldn't have paid Mark Henry or Matt Hardy enough money to go through that. No.
Especially 2004 WWE.
For
Yeah.
real.
Yeah.
where they already had too many racial stereotype situations happening on TV.
Yeah.
Ryan, you in agreement? This idea was not going to work.
Well, the white boy challenge was pretty sweet, but
I
yeah.
love the Rodney Mack White Boy Challenge. It was awesome.
But yeah, that's a no for me. Yeah, I don't feel this one.
Yeah. During everybody's diatribe, I already spun the wheel.
Oh, good call.
Ooh, this is a good one. Mr. Kennedy cashing in Money in the Bank.
Okay, sweet.
Now, if you guys don't remember, Mr. Kennedy, one of the rising stars WWE had at the time, post-Attitude Era, we're knee-deep in the Ruthless Aggression Era. And initially, when he won the Money in the Bank, the idea and character was that Kennedy would wait until the following WrestleMania to cash in his contract. Of course, during this time, you had the Batista-Undertaker feud, and I believe Undertaker tore, it was either his bicep or tricep.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of those. So they had the steel cage match, and that's where Kennedy was going to cash in. But unfortunately, during a live event, the before that SmackDown, Kennedy had a match with Batista, and he was misdiagnosed for a tricep tear. And when he got a second opinion on it, and he already dropped the briefcase to Edge, the doctor felt his arm, and he's like, "It's not torn. It's just a deeply bruised labrum." So, what people thought was going to be a 9-month recovery turned out just to be like a 2-month recovery. So he dropped the Money in the Bank briefcase for no reason. Interestingly enough, the plans after Kennedy cashed in, he was supposed to go on a world championship feud with Matt Hardy. Because during this Money in the Bank run that Kennedy had, albeit brief, he did lose to Matt Hardy by a roll-up in a match, which would have transferred into a Mr. Kennedy versus Matt Hardy situation. And then, you have Matt Hardy being established as a main guy for SmackDown. Now, Ryan, going back to you, do you think WWE would have been better off if they waited for Mr. Kennedy, let's say, have Batista win the world title from Taker in the cage match and then have a short little run with it and then Kennedy cashes in? Or do you think the right decision was made?
All right, so just to be frank, the Undertaker was defeated by Edge with the replacement, correct?
Yes.
So I wonder if it came down to Undertaker, like, was he injured? Was he out of dates? Was it like a contractual thing where he couldn't be the champion anymore on a week-to-week basis?
Undertaker was injured at this point.
Okay.
And Edge and Taker were already penciled in for WrestleMania 24. Okay. So this was going to be the start to that build.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess they used that to propel that storyline forward, and unfortunately, it killed Kennedy. And if I remember correctly, Richie, I don't know, I can't remember if you said it, but Kennedy was supposed to be champion or Money in the Bank holder for a whole calendar year and cash in a year later, right?
Yes.
So what would it in? I guess it was the right call. It's just unfortunate. I wonder if Kennedy would have made it because his bombast was the highlight of his character, and I wonder if that would have faded. You know what I mean? Once would his bombast fade with his rise when his rise would risen? I don't know. This is an interesting one for me because I was a Kennedy guy way back in the day when this was happening. I remember being a little bit upset that it happened and be like, that sucks, right? I was hoping and rooting for him. But in retrospect, here now, 15 years later or whatever we are, I don't know if it would have worked, right? If the reliance on his charisma and bombast and stuff like that, it doesn't seem like he had the supporters backstage, anyways, from his peers or people deep in the company, anyways.
Yeah.
So
when you have Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and John Cena not liking you, especially during 2007, you're a little bit dunzo.
So what do you broke through that proverbial glass ceiling? Perhaps not. I think they probably saw it as an excuse to kind of jolt it off him and move other places with someone else. But when he won it, it was electric. Great promo afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely. MJ, what are your thoughts on the whole Kennedy creative and everything, dominoes falling everywhere. Matt Hardy not getting his main event push in 2007.
You see, they went with the right choice. I do think that. I do kind of feel like I hate these storylines or situations where it not just jerks around one person but two people.
Mhm.
Because I love Matt, and I think him giving a shot in the main event push would have been great. So that kind of sucks, but I do understand, and I do agree that it was probably the right choice.
Husky?
Yeah, I think it was the right call, unfortunately. I mean, like, if he would have been properly diagnosed, being like, it's just a bruise, he'll be fine in a couple weeks. I think it would have been interesting to have Kennedy hold the world title, but I think they did the right call on this.
Yeah. It's just one of those things where it's like it was literally going to change the trajectory of his career. And then you see, it's like that was the golden ticket back then. Still kind of a golden ticket now, but back then it was like, Edge,
Absolutely a golden
superstar,
ticket.
Rob Van Dam, validation. And then you have Kennedy, who's out of the Money in the Bank briefcase holders at the time, was like the new guy in the block. You're like, okay, this is going to solidify him. And then unfortunately, that happened. I will say that the Matt Hardy, Mr. Kennedy story would have involved like a one-upmanship game, similar to the Matt Hardy MVP story that we later got.
Ooh,
Yeah.
okay.
So, all right, MJ, I feel like I owe you this one. So you're going to start first with this one. I did tease and hint that there was an Undertaker opponent that was pitched and talked about, and coincidentally, I had him land on the wheel. You can't see it, but it's the Undertaker versus Abyss at WrestleMania 22. Now, Abyss is one of the big TNA names from their history. Everyone has fond memories of Abyss, James Mitchell, and there was talk with Abyss's contract expiring in 2006 for him being the Undertaker's opponent. They were offering that to him on a silver platter. Here you go. You get a main event match at WrestleMania with the Undertaker. But Abyss felt loyalty to TNA and backed out. Now, MJ, did Abyss make the right choice?
I do. I understand. I would have loved that match, but I mean, NWA TNA, the Jarretts are the first company that gave him his first TV like pay per view out there and was able to put his name on a national level. So I understand the loyalty thing. Big, I'm a big person on loyalty, but I do think that was the right choice because I mean, he had a great run in TNA even after that.
He did have a great run, but I will say, being a number on the Undertaker streak, a lot of people might value that more. So, Husky, do you think being a quote unquote victim of the Undertaker streak outweighs a career in TNA?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm with Mike on this. That's a match that I would have loved to have seen. That's one of those. It's one of those Taker dream matches that we sadly will never get the chance to. Like, Taker and Sting is another example that we never got that we should have gotten at some point. But yeah, like, I think, the being a victim of the streak is kind of in like the broad spectrum, kind of like a very high honor. Being like, yo, I went at WrestleMania with arguably one of the greatest characters in wrestling of all time. But you got to respect the undying loyalty that Abyss had to TNA.
Mhm.
So I'm kind of torn on it. It's like, yeah, he should have took the money and had the chance to, maybe do something wild in WWE. But yeah, I think it may have been the right call in the long run.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And if I'm not mistaken, because I've heard about this rumor, that they were actually going to bring him in as a third brother.
Oh,
So much lore with the family.
so many
So-
brothers, brother.
Yeah. From what I heard, from what I read, they were going to bring him in as like a long lost like third brother from him and
And
Kane, because they were going to do Undertaker, and then they were going to do a feud with Kane between
Mhm.
Kane and Abyss.
oh, don't worry, there's a couple of Kane storylines we're gonna get to.
oh boy.
There. But Ryan, another trajectory that would probably be changing just for the WWE and TNA in general is that Abyss being right out of the gate opponent for the Undertaker. TNA was looked down upon WWE at the time. They weren't signing any TNA talent. They weren't looking at them seriously like that. So do you
Right.
think if Abyss did accept this, TNA would either change in terms of WWE looking at them as a possible feeder system as they later became, or do you think it was just going to be business as usual?
Probably business as usual. I think it's more of a Abyss thing than a TNA thing. It's like, oh, look at this big opposing guy. We're looking and searching for an Undertaker opponent here at WrestleMania 22. They ended up going with a random Mark Henry match, which they, of course, built to. But if you look at the lore of the Undertaker, to go from like Randy Orton, Mark Henry, and then you go Batista, Ed, you know what I mean? And Mark Henry just doesn't really fit, nor did Abyss really at the time. I'm sure he could have, and
Mhm.
that was a weird casket match too with the stipulation. So I felt like they were trying to do
Yeah.
something with the Undertaker at that place in time, and perhaps Abyss would have fit in well
Mhm.
with that Undertaker place in time. But I think it's just more of a TNA thing. I think it's more of an Abyss thing than a TNA thing. Um, Abyss having more upside than being a TNA wrestler, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I'm just going to throw it out there right now. Apparently, according to Kurt Angle, he wanted, or Taker wanted him at WrestleMania 22, but they got No Way Out 2006 instead.
Yeah,
Do you think overall, like, I'm going to ask the panel this, Undertaker versus Kurt Angle at No Way Out was the right call, or should it have been at WrestleMania?
well,
That match of Mania would have killed.
I know.
Oh,
I
yeah,
think they
that
wanted.
match of Mania
I think to my point 2 seconds ago, I think the Undertaker in 2006 they wanted a certain projection or or flavor of him, and that didn't really have the World Heavyweight Championship. And Kurt Angle as your World Heavyweight Champion, I don't think they wanted to give up the streak to
Right.
discontinue and give the belt to the Undertaker. So maybe perhaps things weren't really working out in that way as well.
Yeah, and 07
Yeah.
was 06, 07 was kind of a strange year for Taker.
Yeah,
Like,
they found his footing with 07, and they really go with him.
Yeah.
Becoming world champion and leading into 08. But 06, yeah, coming out of that Randy feud in 05.
Yeah, because
He
you got
was
the
more-
Kurt.
Yeah, he was
you
an
got Mark,
attraction.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was kind of like an attraction for SmackDown with no attractable opponents in a way.
Yeah, and that was the Kali year, too.
Yeah.
Yep.
yeah.
Last man standing match. Loki ain't bad.
All
I don't
right,
want to say
Husky.
too loud. I don't want to say too loud.
All right, Husky. The wheel spun, and we have the Jericho Edge tag team. Now, the only thing that got transferred, because, everyone knows Jericho, but before then, Chris Jericho and Edge won the tag team titles, but then Edge went down with an unfortunate Achilles injury. But the Jericho Edge tag team was going to build up into the match that Jericho later had with DX at TLC. And then it would be Edge versus Jericho at WrestleMania 26. So nothing too much changed from that. Just the run of Jericho and Edge as a tag team.
Yeah.
So Husky, what's your opinion on the Edge Jericho tag team? Would you have preferred it over Jericho, or did you think like Jericho and Edge was something that would have surpassed that?
I like the pairing of Edge and Chris Jericho, but I also love Jericho.
Yeah.
It was just the two of them were just goofy together to me. So yeah, I kind of think they did the right thing with this. I mean, unfortunately, with Edge going down with the injury, but yeah, I think as it went on, I think that was the right call.
Ryan?
Yeah. Yeah, and the history is much known. The big man, little man probably works a little bit better than the symmetry of Edge and Jericho, who are kind of at the same trajectory and the same career path at that point, and the same level and the same whatever. So it's like there's no peanut butter and jelly aspect to it. It's more of just kind of the same. So I don't know if I don't think I would have really changed the revisionist on that one, even though on paper it is a little more appealing, right? But
Yeah.
that tag team division at the point, you're looking at the Hearts, you're looking at the Colognes. You don't really have that like crazy work rate team, right? So it's just like it probably fit a little better than we assumed.
Yeah, because 2009 MJ was kind of a off point for the WWE Tag Team division.
Oh, absolutely.
Even though they unified the championships, which I think a lot of people today probably would prefer that move.
Mm-hmm.
But the division, you had teams that were a part of it, but weren't really like front running it. Like you don't have the Hardys, you don't have the Dudleys, you don't have Edge and Christian, you don't have the Hart Foundation, you don't have the Rockers to have people look at tag team wrestling as an attraction on the show that can be beneficial. Now it's like you have the Hart Dynasty, Crime Time, Legacy, Colognes, great performers and everything, but tag team wrestling is a very dirty word in WWE around this point.
Absolutely.
All right, so are we in agreement that Jericho Edge, great idea in theory leading up to a WrestleMania match, but in practice the tag run just wasn't going to hit the same as Jericho did?
Facts.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
think the singles match kind of proved that the chemistry just was there, but it was just at like that level that didn't really break through like Jericho did. Oddly enough, who would have thought, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's what it is. Ooh, this is actually the idea, as I spun the wheel, that inspired this idea of the entire podcast. So I'm excited for this one. William Regal's main event push into the WWE Championship. So William Regal was the Raw general manager around this time and won King of the Ring. So the concept was Regal being mad with power. He's King of the Ring, he's Raw general manager, and this would lead to a WWE Championship feud with Triple H. Now, we saw a little bit of this. We saw Regal abusing his power to John Cena, to Triple H. He threw Raw off the air during the middle of a WWE Championship match. But then the wellness policy violation struck, which unfortunately it does at this time. So Regal was suspended, fired as Raw GM, but when he came back, he later won the Intercontinental Championship. So at least he got a little bit of something out of that. Ryan, I'll start with you. William Regal, around this time, 2008, do you think it was too little too late for him to be a main event guy, or did you think it would have worked at this era?
Probably would have worked. Probably his style at that time would have probably fit the lights of a Triple H, a Batista, an Edge, guys like that, right? It's not like you have like where it would be Bryan, Styles, Cesaro, guys like that, where he would that are later on in the company in 2008. It's still kind of a big man territory. And Regal being that, I assume he would have found himself in the chicken shit role from a in-ring presentation standpoint. I think he would have benefited from that role. And then the smugness probably would have shined. I think they would have had to do a little bit because he's kind of been like a tag guy or a commissioner or the king of velocity since arriving in the early 2000s. And then we're going to push him. We're going to push him 8 years into his WWF run as a main eventer. I feel that he would have found himself like in a Kane Big Show type of kind of placing eventually. But that's not that's obviously higher than he was. And he probably would have done a little bit better from a character presentation than those two guys that I looked at. And from an in-ring standpoint, he would have been probably a little bit better. But I don't think that we get William Regal of the early 90s, technical wizard, in-ring technician. He's a little longer in the tooth, a little damaged from an investment standpoint. But I think that the guys that he would have been working with would have worked. So I want to say a soft yes, it would have worked. But I don't think it's a home run. I think it's a strong double off the wall, so to speak. Let's put it that way from a stance. I think they would have wanted it to work because he has a lot of friends too in high places as well.
Yeah, because him and Triple H are pretty close.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that's a mentor-mentee situation, and I think their matches would have been really good.
Yeah, but in 2008, MJ, do you think 2008 was the perfect chance for this to happen, or did you think William Regal in the main event should have happened a lot sooner?
Uh, I I think 2008 would have been great with that character work he was doing with
Mhm.
that heel shit with the King of the Ring run, because I
Mhm.
loved that run, his drunk with power thing. Uh, but as a fan, I wish they would have pulled the trigger a little earlier. But I do think '08 would have been like really good. I so and I think Enrique work. Yeah, he was a little older, but I think he could have done. So had some pretty good matches. I wouldn't like give him a long ass run with the WWE Championship.
Right.
You're not going to Roman Reigns it?
No, not at all. You
4.5 year title reign of William Regal.
A month or
It's
two
for
with
the
that
fans.
belt would have been
Give the people what they want.
Yeah. Have the
maybe
zoom
a
out
month
Okada
or two
style.
with that belt with Regal would have been really good.
Especially him holding that spinner belt, that'd be hilarious.
That would have.
Husky, what do you think about William Regal's almost main event championship?
I
potential?
I personally, because I mean I'm a William Regal fan, so like yeah, they should have ran with it. Also, I think a Union Jack spinner belt would have been hysterical. Absolutely hysterical. But yeah, like during that time, like MJ was saying, the like the drunk with power thing would have been fantastic as like a heel champion. Yeah, the matches with Triple H would have been insane. Um, Pretty much anybody that main event run, he would have given them a good match for sure. But yeah, don't make it super long. I give it like, say he wins it at when was, did they say when he was supposed to win the title?
So we were getting into like Judgment Day,
Yeah.
SummerSlam territory.
SummerSlam. Okay, yeah. So around SummerSlam, give him to like Survivor Series, like a good like 3 month run. I think it would have been great.
Yeah,
Isn't
especially
this
with the talent you have at that time.
isn't this the year that Triple H had like the SmackDown run?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Triple
Maybe
H gets drafted to SmackDown about a month after the story starts.
yeah, maybe he takes Regal's spot, right? And so to speak, right? It doesn't come. Is this the
Yeah.
year Khali becomes champ too? No, that's 07.
That was a year before. But what's interesting about this, now that you bring that up, Ryan,
Yeah.
is that CM Punk did cash in Money in the Bank to become world champion when
Mm.
Triple H made the swap. And who did Regal beat in the finals of King of the Ring? CM Punk. So we probably would have gotten Punk versus Regal, a world title program, but we later got Punk versus Regal as the Intercontinental program.
So let me add one more thing. You talked about timing with Regal. I wonder if he would have had better timing in 04 because he was gone with that parasite for 2 years, 03 to
Yeah.
up to 05. So I wonder
Right.
if he would have been a candidate. Not that I want to take away from JBL because I think that's underrated, but if
Mm.
there was a landscape of 2004 SmackDown, right, where they were thin, I wonder if he would have been a better candidate then for Regal to kind of get that main event push it, right?
Yeah,
So,
like JBL, Regal, Bob Holly. How about I win the belt and beat everybody?
hell yeah, brother. I'll just get strapped to
How
you.
you like me now?
I hope we have a NASCAR question with Bob Holiday.
Oh,
Do we have a
fingers
Sparky-
crossed.
Do we have a Sparky plug? I don't want to spoils. I don't want
No,
to.
no Sparky plug, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But MJ, I'm gonna go to you, and I think you're gonna like this one.
Okay.
And it is Mark Jindrak in Evolution.
Ooh.
So,
love this.
so just the backstory for those who don't know. In February, Evolution was concocted by Triple H with Ric Flair, Randy Orton, and Batista. But in the same match against the Dudley Boys at a house show, Batista tears his tricep and Randy Orton breaks his foot. So that's why they randomly started it, and then you're just back to Triple H and Ric Flair on television. So later, Randy Orton joins the crew, and in the midst of training for his comeback, Batista re-tears his tricep. So just trying to kind of test the waters with different people, Mark Jindrak was entered in this situation, and they even had promos filmed with Mark Jindrak walking side by side, like Triple H, Ric Flair, Randy Orton in the suits, like Reservoir Dogs. And Triple H infamously was not in favor of Mark Jindrak as a part of
Him and Randy
Evolution.
were open like foods backstage.
Yeah. And Triple H valued Randy Orton more than Mark Jindrak. And then when Vince McMahon saw the vignettes because putting Mark Jindrak in the group was his idea. So seeing Mark involved, and he said, yeah, this vibe isn't working. Mark Jindrak was then put in a tag team with Garrison Cade, and Batista made his comeback, and then Evolution is complete. So, MJ, how do you feel about Mark Jindrak? Almost was in Evolution.
I think I don't think it would have worked as well as with Batista. I think there is a spark of magic with the Batista thing. But I do, as a Jindrak fan since WCW days, I've always wondered how that would have went down. Because
You're telling me that Basket Case from WCW would be a great Evolution member?
Okay,
Mark
that's
Jindrak in that
hilarious.
suit is crazy.
Basket Case, I forgot about that.
Yeah, again, Jindrak's WCW character before the Natural Born Thrillers stable he was a part of the NBA, and he got kicked out because he was too aggressive, like any sports person in WWE. Husky, how do you feel about Marco Corleone being part of Evolution?
Dude, it's wild to think that like this dude gets dropped from Evolution and then like a decade later he's like a mega star in Mexico.
Like the most random thing.
It's so wild.
In both companies, he jumped ship from AAA to
to CMLL. Yeah, he's kind of back and forth there, but yeah, I kind of agree. I don't think it would have hit right with Mark Jindrak instead of Dave Batista. It would have been very interesting to see. Like, although I think watching the vignettes, because they like dropped the vignettes on like on YouTube and stuff like that. Mark Jindrak in a suit just
looks weird.
It looks so weird.
With the poofy hair too.
Yeah.
Poofy hair and the giant shoulder pads and the jacket. He looked like a fridge wearing a wig. Like, dude, it was insane.
I wondered if someone actually like purposely like gave him the wrong fitted suit. Because he looks like, did someone sabotage this on purpose?
Mark Jindrak is gigantic, and somehow they found a suit jacket that was 3 sizes too big for him.
Yeah, like I do wonder if someone tried to like sabotage that on purpose.
It was
like,
Flair ribbing him.
Yeah, for Triple H, I was like, we don't like this guy. He's a menace.
Hey Rick, fuck this guy. Get him an ill-fitting suit.
Like that's just the most petty thing ever. Get him a suit. I don't want him to look good in a suit. Ryan, how'd you think about Mark Jindrak?
Yeah, I don't even know if it's a great fit. Like, you think of how much equity Batista got out of that Evolution run, and can you imagine Jindrak getting that? I don't know.
I would have loved that.
The reflection of perfection.
Yeah, he just. I don't know. That just doesn't fit. You know, it's a great rumor. Well, it is. It's not a rumor. It is lore, right? But yeah, that's definitely a what if, and that's one of the what ifs that just don't work in my opinion.
Yeah, because it was gonna be like the muscle. It was supposed to be the muscle, and I feel like Batista fits that muscle role better, just because like the dude was not only like in great shape, he was large.
Yeah,
and Mark Jindrak. He's deceivingly athletic. I think he had the best vertical jump out of any prospect that they had.
Oh yeah.
And
Mark Jindrak's dropkick is beautiful.
He does throw a beautiful dropkick.
Yeah, you got again the Dropkick Hall of Fame. You have Mark Jindrak, you got Maven, you got Bob Holly, got Randall,
Okada
has got a good dropkick. Yeah, I'll knock Randy off. Okada has a pretty good dropkick.
I will say I love the Garrison Cade Jindrak tag team.
Oh, that was a great tag team.
That was
sure.
That lovely title run they went on. Oh wait.
Yeah.
Oh wait. But just take this part into consideration. Just imagine if Mark Jindrak had everything that Batista had after like post Evolution run. Can you imagine Mark Jindrak in Guardians of the Galaxy?
We got the reflection of perfection right there.
The reflection of perfection as Drax the Destroyer.
That's
hilarious.
Oh my gosh. All right, so I spun the next one. Husky, I'm going to start with you, and this one's actually a pretty fun one. Okay. It's Hogan versus Bret Hart at SummerSlam 90. it's either 92 or 93. I believe 93.
93.
It was
93.
93.
So the story goes that, Brett gets salt in the eyes. He can't compete any longer. And then
Mhm.
Hogan cashes in his Hogan Bank brother and he defeats Yokozuna. And apparently the plan was Hogan versus Bret Hart at SummerSlam so Hogan can pass the torch to Bret. That didn't happen. But apparently there is lost media of Hulk Hogan and Bret Hart doing a tug of war with the WWF Championship.
Mhm.
I've seen that
Now,
poster.
Husky, have you heard of this rumor? And did you think this would have been the best choice to get Bret Hart his title back?
Yeah, I have. I have heard about this. I've seen the photo of them doing the tug of war with the belt. If Hogan hadn't have gone off to do movies before WCW, I think this probably would have been the most logical thing to do. Really,
Mhm.
I kind of wish I would have seen that. See Hogan versus Brett like for the title. I think that would have been like really cool to see. But yeah, yeah, I'm gonna have to go with that. I think that should have been the thing to do with that.
So, sorry, brother. I got to film Mr. Natty.
The fucking the Hogan in the bank line just broke me for a minute. I was like, hold on, wait a minute.
It's very Dwayne-ish nowadays.
For sure.
It's gonna morph, and then it's gonna be it can't. Allegedly, it can't be the Cena because Cena's gone by this point. Maybe we get Roman in the bank, Cody in the bank in the future. We'll see. We'll
Roman
see
in the
how
bank.
powerful everyone gets. But Ryan, did you think it was a missed opportunity for Hogan and Hart? And if it wasn't at SummerSlam, did you think it should have been earlier?
Maybe if schedule permitted, King of the Ring, right? But then again, you take away that Bret Hart performance at King of the Ring. I don't know if I'd want to change
That
that.
Mr. Perfect match too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know if I'd probably that historically might have probably benefited Brett a little bit better in retrospect, that King of the Wing night instead of there. But if Hogan's schedule allows, of course SummerSlam would be it. But then I don't know. It's just WWF in '93 is just based around the old guard, the rising guard, and them just strapping a rocket to Yokozuna to make someone, right? So they put all that into Hogan lore into Yoko, and they were transferring it into Brett. And did it work at WrestleMania 10? Perhaps, right? So it was a weird time and place in WWF history where a lot of moving parts, and I'm afraid that Hogan at that stage probably wouldn't have done the correct deed. So I think the lore is a little stronger than what we would have gotten at SummerSlam unfortunately. But on paper, Brett versus Hogan's incredible, right? It's especially, but was '93 Brett ready to be made in the fans' eyes, Vince's eyes, everyone else's eyes? In retrospect, you would assume, but in that present time, I'm a little uncertain there with that.
Right.
I think I don't think it would have been good. Is kind of what I'm trying to say. Unfortunately,
Like you think the idea of the match is better than the match's actual execution.
no doubt.
All right, MJ, with Hogan and Brett, they had one match at WCW Nitro, ended in a disqualification.
Yeah.
Do you think the proposed matchup idea would have been better at SummerSlam?
I'm with Ryan at this, where I think the plan that sounds amazing, but Hogan at this time with his ego and the fact that he doesn't like to do business, I don't know if that match would have been good at all. Not even great. I don't think that match would have been good.
That's fair enough, but a lot of parallels, people complaining about how Hogan lost to Yokozuna, people complaining how Cena lost to Gunther, it's all just a circle of life kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
But with Brett, I think it would have been a little detrimental to Brett too, because Brett is vulnerable at that point on the rise, and Hogan is such that star. You might make
especially
Brett a little
verbally
bit vulnerable.
too.
Yeah, Brett might be a little vulnerable to some boos or some nays, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. His trajectory might have been hampered a little bit just from the perception. I don't know.
All right, Ryan, we're going to throw it back to you, but this is going to be a good one. Vader's WWF title run.
Ooh, okay.
So, the long-standing story was that Vader was in line for the WWF Championship, and then SummerSlam '96 happened, where you just hear Shawn Michaels yell "Move" to Vader. because Vader didn't move out of the way for an elbow drop. And then you just have Shawn Michaels kicking Vader in the head for realsies. And then what was supposed to be a championship win for Vader at Survivor Series got switched to a program for Shawn Michaels versus Sid. Now, Ryan, you were knee-deep watching WWF at this point. Was this the popular rumor at the time, or did you find out after the fact? And did you think Vader was the correct choice, even with the SummerSlam faux pas?
Well, the SummerSlam faux pas would kind of lead into the rumors that you alluded to that Vader was the choice with the start and stop and all that stuff. And maybe perhaps some of Sean's angst towards him was like, well, I'm not losing my belt to this fucking guy, or I'm not losing my belt at all. Maybe Sean's ego and whatever got in the way, and the plan was to go with someone, and then Sid, who was on the rise and got hot enough to make it work, and Sean trusted enough, and I think they did kind of shit on Vader a little bit, but to the point, this isn't early 90s Vader from a in-ring standpoint. So perhaps Sean's some of the movements, clunkiness of that match, Sean probably had a gripe to backstage to play into, where Vader was maybe a fraction of himself before that. But I don't know. I don't think I'd want to change it. I think Sid in that spot is just electric. MSG 96, the fist bumping, the vibes, like that kind of made Sid. The lore of Sid was made, right? And there was plenty of equity in Sid within the WWE too. He had the Sid Justice run 91, 92, and then him coming back in 95, 96 as well. So he was built up too. I think within the WWE, Sid had a stronger run to that point than Vader in the WWF, right? So, of course, the Vader fans or the early 90s Vader fans would think that Vader is more worthy than Sid. But here in retrospect, 20, 30 years later, I don't know. I feel that Sid was probably more worthy and more trustworthy too with Sean.
Yeah, which is interesting because apparently that's why Sid left WWF the first time around, was because of the click and Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
MJ, do you agree with Ryan? Sid was the correct choice over Vader?
I do actually, and I love Vader, but Sid at that point was one of them top babyface like faces of the company and was super over as the leader of the world.
Yeah.
I think so. I definitely do think that was the right choice to go with Sid. And
Husky, you think Sid over Vader?
Yeah, I think Sid over Vader. If it was still like that, like early 90s Vader, it'd be a completely different question. But he had a lot of health issues. And he was getting up there in age, so that kind of didn't really do him any favors. But I mean, after him leaving WWE, he goes back to All Japan and becomes like a star again. So it kind of worked out for everybody, really.
Yeah. Well, again, if Vader was still in that spot, we wouldn't get Sid Vicious as WWF champion potentially.
That is true. Yeah.
All right. We talked about this man before earlier in the pod, and we just spun on him again, and it landed on another what could have been. MJ, I'm going to start with you. It's Mr. Kennedy being Vince McMahon's son. Now, how this storyline was conceived. Of course, we know Hornswoggle was the son, and then it became this convoluted story that Finley made Vince McMahon's kids go along with it, and the payoff was JBL throwing a trash can at Hornswoggle at WrestleMania, and then, later becoming, it was one of those, that thing happened. So
yeah.
So Kennedy gets the Money in the Bank briefcase. I'm so glad that already happened, so we can continue this two-part story. So Kennedy comes back from Money in the Bank briefcase, gets the draft over the Raw. So then the idea is Vince McMahon's limo explodes. And of course, we have the Benoit tragedy that happened shortly after.
Mm-hmm.
And how it was before was that there was going to be a video played on the Titantron of Vince McMahon reading his will and testament, always leaving his finances and everything to Mr. Kennedy. So everything gets given to Kennedy. Linda McMahon gets arrested because she was accused of bringing the limo. Ryan just goes like, wait, now we gotta lock in and pay attention.
Now we're talking.
So everything gets in there. So Kennedy would have been like mad with power, potential World Championship run, and the ending of the story would have been Mr. Kennedy versus Triple H, who would have been revealed as the husband of Stephanie McMahon for the first time for realsies in the main event of WrestleMania 24. But since the Benoit's limo explosion happened, then you had Vince McMahon saying on television, "Oh, who's my son?" And even Kennedy was didn't know at the time if he was the son or not. But Stephanie came up to him later and said, "We're going to lean into the internet rumors since that's what we were like want to do. We want to give the fans the idea." So you have Mr. Kennedy and Vince McMahon staring at each other, which is what the WWE special. You stare at each other and then you walk away, and then you have Mr. Kennedy go on his website and talk about steroids and how steroids are bad. And then he gets busted in the signature pharmacy scandal,
Yeah.
along with 13 other names, I believe. And the reveal for the son was happening in Green Bay, Wisconsin, which is Mr. Kennedy's hometown.
Yes.
And the crowd in the audience started chanting Kennedy, and Vince McMahon said that Kennedy has been suspended for impersonating a McMahon. I didn't know there was such a thing to get suspended over, but that was the thing. And then we get the Hornswoggle reveal. So, MJ, we already talked about Kennedy and his failed Money in the Bank run. Now we're talking about his failed potential WrestleMania main event run. Is Mr. Kennedy the most unluckiest superstar in recent memory?
He is. He absolutely is.
Mhm.
I wanted so bad as Kennedy as a McMahon child. So bad. I wanted this. I wish they would have done this storyline instead of the Hornswoggle thing. But I do find it funny that they chose the guy who was trained by Kennedy to end up being his son.
Got to
That
get
is
that
wild.
Wisconsin tie-in
Dylan
for the
was
Green
trained
Bay
by Kennedy.
reveal. Got to get that local pop, brother.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So the fact that they did choose one of Ken Kennedy's proteges and one of the guys who trained Hornswoggle, yeah, that's fucking funny.
Man.
Yeah, I wish they would have went with Ken Kennedy as Vince McMahon's son. And Linda McMahon getting arrested? That would have been great.
Yeah, that's like the one part of the story that I never heard.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, it was that was apparently going to happen, where Linda was going to be blamed for the limo exploding, and then she would come back and Triple H would fight for the honor of the McMahons. The McMahons being the good guys in a story is pretty wild. But then
Also amazing.
That's the craziest part.
it would have ended up that Vince McMahon faked his death, surprise surprise, and try to like rule over it with Kennedy so he could get 100% veto power. So Husky, would you like to have seen this play out on television?
I definitely would have loved it. Just having Mr. Kennedy be the face of this like heel weird McMahon dynasty type thing would have been awesome. But if we would have got that, we wouldn't have got one of my favorite parts of the entire like naming of the son bit is when they're all in the ring and Sandman was supposed to get eliminated from it early, but he just stayed in the ring because he was probably hammered.
Oh yeah.
But
He also qualified for every single one as well.
it's like he's blonde,
Was a champion.
was a former champion, and Hack was like, "Well, I was ECW champion. Does that work?"
and then it was like it's like is not extreme, and Sandman still stayed because he was technically a part of the Raw roster at that point.
Yeah, he technically was, and you can just tell Vince keeps looking back like, "God damn it, get out of the ring!"
Because the final two used to be Triple H and then JBL.
Yeah, it was Triple H and JBL. Yeah.
All right, Ryan.
Is that Sandman 2007 push like Vince liking him on the wheel?
No, I wish I should have put that on there. That's why he was brought over to the Raw.
Yeah, he was.
I like this guy, pal.
Yeah. All right.
He drinks beer. I wish I could find somebody who did that.
I don't know. This one's weird, right? Because it's like, are we making up for Kennedy? They acknowledged the internet rumor. Is this just like an internet rumor of an inch and everyone ran a mile with it? Because I feel that like Kennedy being Vincent Kennedy McMahon and Kennedy being his last name, I think that there was some maybe there was definitely a Ken Anderson fan in there from the jump for that to
Mhm.
kind of be a thing as well too, right? So they try to just like connect a bunch of dots that are not there in a way too.
Yeah.
But I'm curious what if we would have got this if this would because this was a more serious storyline than
Mhm.
the Hornswoggle storyline that we got afterwards, right? So I don't know. This one's hard.
There was a reason why Mr. Kennedy was called Mr. Kennedy, and that's Paul Heyman went to him because Ken wanted to be Ken Anderson.
Yeah.
But Paul said, it's like, you know what you need to do? You need to appeal to Vince McMahon. You need to grab it at his heart. So originally
His
Heyman
middle name.
suggested. So yeah.
I
So
just realized that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So Kennedy ended up being the choice, but Heyman was like, maybe you should be Rocco or Ruckus and Rumpus because those are Vince's dogs and he likes dogs. And Kennedy's like, well, I have KK on my trunks. I'll just be Ken Kennedy. So, all right. Okay, Ryan, oh boy, this one's a doozy.
Let's go.
Mordecai's main event push. Now, for
God.
those of you who don't remember,
Oh God.
Mordecai is basically the Undertaker, but he dresses in white. And in 2004, which I started watching wrestling a little bit full time, I'm surprised I'm still here, by the way.
Yeah, by the way.
You have Mordecai, who basically played Undertaker dressed in white, talking about sinning and everything like that. And he was going to be the opponent for the Undertaker.
There's
And
a lot of these for the Undertaker. I kind of felt
and
bad
he
for the
even
guy.
filmed vignettes, and these vignettes aired of him accosting Eddie Guerrero for lying, cheating, and stealing. So that was going to be the first part of the Mordecai main event push. He was going to face Eddie, then go on to Undertaker. Now, what happened was Mordecai, and he would dress in full gimmick too when he was out of character. He would dress fully in white, like white shirt, white pants, white shoes, bleached his hair, eyebrows. He went the full mile with this. And he got into a bar fight, and that got the company a little nervous. So they're like, all right, we're sending you back to OVW. We're going to no longer go with the Mordecai character. So the Mordecai character ended up losing to Cruiserweight champion at the time, Rey Mysterio. And then off he went. And then we didn't see him again until he became a vampire on ECW.
Oh.
So, Ryan, one, I'm sorry for this one. Two, do you remember Mordecai? Do you remember the talks? Like he was about to get a push similar to The Undertaker, or at least be opponent to?
I recall White Undertaker, and then and what I'm kind of glad is I'm glad all that happened because, side note, I am a pretty big Ariel fan. You know what I mean? Back in the day, I was. So, all right. Anyways,
Batista's not.
move on from that one. I didn't know. I wanted to get my Ariel plugins, my Shelly Martinez plug. So there, I saw my lane, so I got to it. I don't think Kevin Thorne was a good enough worker to make that work, regardless, right? So it's just again another Undertaker aura vibe, family, whatever that we're kind of indulging into again in the mid aughts, right? So it's just like back to the well again, right? The vampire of storylines. Like let's just go. We got nothing. Let's just go with the Undertaker or something. I don't think it would have worked. It wasn't really working, and it was a cool presentation that they did kind of get behind as well, right? It's just I don't think Kevin Thorne was charismatic or a good enough worker to make it work.
So MJ, we got either Mordecai or Heidenreich. We got Heidenreich as the Undertaker opponent for 2004. Would you rather Mordecai or Heidenreich?
Oh, neither.
Nope, you got to choose one.
And
you can't choose or either.
Choose what?
Or.
Choose or.
God, I guess Heidenreich's the right choice in this situation because, like Ryan says, Kevin Thorne, not the best worker, is decent. His ECW run was also forgettable.
How dare you?
Part of the new breed. Yeah, and this was like Undertaker right when he changed back, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like, this was like so to give that aura of like he's the dead man again. Yeah, I don't think this would have worked at all.
So, Husky, I'm going to throw a pitch to you.
Okay.
Is Mordecai to Undertaker at this time Stan from the Eminem song, pretty much?
100%.
That's
It's Undertaker the long way.
Undertaker the long way is crazy.
Yeah. That match would have sucked. That match would have sucked, dude. It'd have been terrible. So I'm glad that they didn't go with Kevin Thorne. Because
Oh.
good lord.
Yeah, I think we're all in agreement with this one.
I saw the first promo for Mordecai and I was just like, maybe I don't want to watch this anymore.
Just gives you an 8-year break of WWE program.
It's just like, what am I doing here?
It's like what's this now?
True.
All right, MJ, we got
oh god.
a more recent storyline. We have Enzo, Nia Jax, and Alexa Bliss, their storyline, which of course got canceled or at least altered when Enzo was released from WWE. But
The
the
false
storyline,
accusation. Yeah.
yes. So the storyline would have been, as we had a couple backstage segments of Enzo and Nia Jax, Nia taking a liking to Enzo and Alexa trying to get in the middle of it, but it would have been revealed as Alexa fooling around with Enzo as Enzo was dating Nia Jax. Enzo, of course, being the cruiserweight champion at the time. So we have the version of Nia and Alexa being like the feud to Mania. So we have all that covered. So MJ, right decision to kick Enzo to the curb other than the allegations?
Yes. This would have worked with someone else. Enzo Amore as a ladies' man. No. Not cool. That would have sucked. And I like Enzo. But like when you think ladies' man and a guy who's a womanizer, I don't picture Enzo Amore. I would
I think it was more of a thing with Vince where he was like, it'd be funny if the cruiserweight champion was desirable. Who would find the cruiserweight champion attractive?
I mean, I do
Give
wish I
me
was in
Nia
his
Jax.
Hey, I wish I was in a position. Nia Jax is perfect.
All right, Husky.
I think it was the right decision because we never would have gotten the line "consensual penis" from Enzo Amore.
That's right. He did drop the
The funniest bar of all time.
I forgot that happened.
Oh, dude.
Ryan, would you like to make it 3 for 3 with this one?
I like Enzo. I'm not gonna lie. For what he was, I think there's something funny about like your cruiserweight champion going for Nia Jax and Vince thinking that's funny, right? I think there's something down that line that we're really not gonna go down. And was Richie? My question for you is: was Nia a babyface already, or did she become a babyface leading into Mania 34?
She was transitioning from heel to babyface.
Okay, so Enzo would have propelled her to that babyface stature, right?
Correct.
That 34 match Loki is underrated. I think it's passable.
I think it is too.
I think it's passable. Yeah, it's they're always trying to do something with Enzo here. That's why they threw him in the cruiserweight division to kind of spruce that up, even though the work rate wasn't enough, right? So they had to throw Enzo in there, character wise, spruce it up, give Gulak a cowboy hat or something, whatever they were doing, and make it the Enzo Appreciation Society. I forget the name of it, right? So
Enzo Appreciation.
I feel that I feel like it could have worked. I kind of like Enzo. You know what I mean? Like not like on screen. I'm only talking on screen here.
Yeah.
And everything like that. Like, and I know that time and that place that those allegedly all that alleged stuff was kind of thrown in his face, and this evaporated real fast. So, with the moving parts, I feel like it kind of could have worked to an extent. Yeah.
It would have worked a lot better, I feel like, if we saw the finished product. But of course, during that time period and how Enzo, especially during that period, was detested by a lot of people, like just more in the internet community.
I think they play into that towards turning.
Yeah. I'm just curious to see how the Enzo and Alexa relationship would have worked out.
It reminds me of the Otis Mandy storyline where it's just like, what's this woman doing with this guy?
Well, I
Right.
can see that because Otis has that like Chris Farley thing going. You know.
Also, facts. Actually, you're
Yeah.
not wrong
Yeah.
there.
All right, Husky, we got a good one on
Okay.
deck. We got Triple H as King of the Ring in '96.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, we have a curtain call story. So you guys don't know by now, curtain call. Diesel, Razor leaving for WCW, HBK and Triple H still staying in WWF. They all hug in the ring, and then, well, I can't punish Shawn. He's the champion. So Triple H, I'm taking away King of the Ring. You're not going to feud with Shawn, and I'm going to give it to Steve Austin. And of course, we know what happens from there. But I want to ask you, Husky, because WWE and WWF like to parlay like the Austin 316 moment as like, oh, now he's a superstar. But he really didn't become a superstar until Bret Hart, like that Bret Hart feud.
Till the Mania 13 match.
Yeah, like the Survivor Series, main event, like WrestleMania, all that. So do you think King of the Ring was necessary for Austin, or do you think that was like the like cherry on top when it came to like that Austin presentation?
I think that if you don't have the King of the Ring spot with him saying the Austin 316 line, I think Austin's run would have been vastly different.
Mm.
Because you wouldn't have had arguably the highest selling piece of wrestling merch of all time next to like the NWO shirt, like the classic NWO shirt. So I don't think you'll get the same dominant Austin on top run without that moment at King of the Ring.
Mm. Ryan, do you think Austin needing King of the Ring was necessary, and do you think Triple H was, obviously he wasn't hindered? Look what the position he is now. But do you think that Triple H winning in '96 would have provided a different outlook of Shawn Michaels versus Triple H of that year in '96?
Yeah, I'm going to take the Triple H side of this because I agree with Husky's Austin moment there, and Austin's been talked about to death here. But yeah, this is at this point in time we were heading out of the new generation era, heading towards the Attitude Era without even realizing it. Right, with the fans rejecting or really clamming on to Austin 316. I don't think Triple H, that blue blood, that whole presentation. I think Mr. Hughes is around him at this time. They're trying to look for that. They're looking for that heater for Triple H because he's presented as that wussy, prissy Connecticut.
That's the real heat between
Yeah.
Triple H and Chris Jericho, who had Curtis Hughes' best run.
That's probably it right there. Honestly, Curtis Hughes, 1993, sidebar. That's just like Ariel. Curtis Hughes, 1993, not a terrible run. A very impressive squash match guy. But anyways, we're gonna move past that. We're gonna move past that. I don't think that's on the list. But anyways, Triple H, the coming out of the ruthless aggressive and not knowing that we're accelerating quick into the Attitude Era, he felt more like a a new generation character opposed to an Attitude Era character. So when he finally got over the hump as the Generation X Triple H, he had totally shed that blue blood character. And he in '96 at this time, that blue blood character was kind of at the forefront of Triple H. So I felt that he definitely needed to go through the trials and tribulations to get to where he was in like that 98, 97, 99 lore where he broke through that glass ceiling. So I think timing is everything, and timing was not then for Triple H. He needed to go through that rough spell with like Mankind or whatever, right? So yeah.
Gotta get those Henry O. Godwin, matches in.
I think those were already in. I think those were 95. But
Okay.
I think
those
that
were
he was
95.
accelerating quick towards Goldust at this point, right? So yeah.
All right, MJ. Do you think Triple H, King of the Ring '96 would have worked, or do you think it was the right call to pull his push early?
I think, like Ryan said, I think this was the right call. Because you have those trials in Triple H had. You don't, and the frustrations you have. You don't have that phenomenal promo he did with Jim Ross, where he was fed up and pissed off, and talking about how he's the fucking game.
My favorite part is Jim Ross when he's asking these questions, and he's like, All right, that was like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
He was even swirly back then.
Yeah.
What the hell are you talking about, Sean?
But
Oh,
but in
no,
that
get over
moment,
it.
you can tell that like he was frustrated and pissed at like the position he was given because of choices or things that were beyond his control. And if you don't have the King of the Ring in '96 and Stone Cold's promo after that, I don't know if they give him that WrestleMania 13 moment.
It's very true.
So
Yeah.
you don't get that phenomenal that picture with him covered in blood.
And the company would probably lean more into the new generation vibe opposed to the attitude vibe that comes out of Austin with
Yeah.
that as well.
It's very true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like two ships in
it's
the
a
night
great-
passing, and Triple H just had to
Yeah.
catch up.
Yeah,
Right.
it's a great domino effect with
Yeah, probably the
that
biggest
one
domino
moment.
effect in WWE history.
Yeah, and
Oh,
it's also
without
burnt
question.
voices of like a Vince Russo, not to put him over, to get behind this attitude opposed to like a Cornette or whatever. Not that I'm picking sides whatsoever, guys,
Yeah.
but like a Cornette being like, well, we need y'all wrestling. You know what I mean? So it's just
Mhm.
like,
Mhm.
I wouldn't change that moment in history at all, guys. Just I agree with all of you on that one.
All right, Ryan, back to you. Now, this is a very interesting one because this man made his name in a faction when he debuted. But before then, a Dean Ambrose was on WWE live events, and he was in this weird limbo where he wasn't on NXT, he wasn't on WWE main roster, but they were still trying to figure out things for him to do creatively. Unfortunately, one of his main programs got shut out, which may or may not be on the list. So this was the other suggestion. So on Raw 1000, there was an alternative pitch of the AJ Lee and Daniel Bryan wedding, where AJ would get committed legally because Daniel Bryan had the power to, because they were married officially. But then AJ would come back with her boyfriend she met in the psych ward, which would be one Dean Ambrose.
Did
Yeah.
not know this pitch.
Yeah.
This is
So
one I did
this
not
was
know.
this was pitched by Kevin Eck,
Okay.
former WWE writer, and they were trying to figure out things for Dean Ambrose to do. Obviously, that didn't happen. We got the Shield, but honestly, I feel like this being the intro to Ambrose isn't exactly bad because you had that later introduction to Biggie Langston, where AJ's like, "Oh, this is Biggie Langston. Okay, what's the connection? Ah, it's just Biggie." It's like, okay, Ryan, how do you feel about this proposed duo of Dean Ambrose and AJ meeting at the Kooky Hut?
So do they link with Ziggler? Like yeah, that part is because they definitely is some parallels to AJ getting a male influence. Let's just call it that. What if now when I thought of this, they would have played into the zany part of Dean Ambrose, which wasn't his strong suit as we see now in AEW with Moxley, right? So that zany part, would they have satisfied their zaniness? And would he have like see, I wouldn't want to change history with him not in the Shield either. So this is just like which path do you kind of go by? Is this like a quick blimp and then he kind of gets repackaged with a different name, same name, or whatever in the Shield at Survivor Series? Or is this like an introduction to Dean Ambrose, and Dean Ambrose isn't Dean Ambrose at the end of the day? He gets released and goes back to the Indies because this seems interesting storyline wise, but I don't think the result would have been great because because this feels zany, especially with the PG era of 2012, and that I feel that that zaniness that we saw in later years of Dean Ambrose, I don't think he really excelled in it because I don't think his heart was in it. So do we have how motivated is John Moxley or John Good or whoever you want to call him at this point in time right now? This is definitely a opening of a lot of doors that I'm not sure I want to go down either way. So I'm going to kind of like throw the ball to one of those other guys to see what they have to say, and then I can maybe bounce back somewhere else because this is an interesting one.
All right, MJ. Do you ship Dean Ambrose and AJ Lee at this time?
No, because not only do you
No.
I'm still a little
me.
intrigued.
No.
Is that because she was married to Daniel Bryan in this scenario? The no?
No, it's
Oh, jeez.
funny. Because if you do that, you change the trajectory of what the Shield is. And I don't know if the original plan with the Shield, with who they wanted or who Punk wanted in the Shield, would have worked.
Could have had Cassius Ohno in there.
Yeah. Mm. And I
instead of
love
Moxley.
Chris, but Chris was past his prime when that came up, and I don't
How
know
how
if
how,
that would.
how dare you? The rolling elbow is a great finish.
I love Chris, but
Just throwing bows. That's all you need. Throwing bows.
Go back to 2015, 2016 PWG and tell me that that dude couldn't work.
yes, true, he could work.
He killed Mark Andrews
He did.
Just
multiple
because he
times.
wasn't doing the 90-minute time limit matches with Punk and IWA.
Right. Yeah.
I think I'm talking when I say past his prime, I meant like figure wise.
Like
Oh.
Yeah, I think with how McMahon was body image wise, you kind of
the Kevlar though.
Yeah, you kind of
Kevlar would have helped out a lot.
Never take off the flak jacket.
Yeah,
It's also
you
a
just
PG
kind
era.
of-
It's too extreme right now as well to add,
Yeah.
right? So I don't think his strengths would have played.
Yeah, so it just it changes the trajectory of too many things that I just don't like.
All right, Husky. Are you interested in a Dean Ambrose AJ Lee alliance?
Ain't no way, big dog. No. No. I think if they would have went through this, John would have had his frustrations that he had at the end of his WWE run
Very early, and we would have
really early.
you
He'd been
would
like,
see
"What the
him
fuck?
right
You
back
bring
in
me up?"
CW working for DJ Hyde for $10 and a hot dog.
I was about to say, yeah, it's like he'll do this for however long his contract is and be like, "Oh, this is all you see me as this weird hanger on to fucking AJ Lee." Nah, dude, I'm gonna do Tournament of Death instead.
Yeah.
And that, in kind of a way, also may have fucked with AEW a little bit going on. Do we get John going over there at when he did?
I don't know. He's just a sick guy.
He's a sicko. What can I say?
All right, MJ. We're going to keep on the AJ Lee train right now because I know you love it. What's interesting about this one was actually filmed during an episode of SmackDown when SmackDown was taped, but they cut it from the live broadcast. So they recorded the story, but then they kiboshed it. And this is Caitlyn turning on AJ Lee to go with Team Pinup Strong of Beth Phoenix and Natalia as her underling. And this was cut from the television broadcast because I guess they didn't have that great a plan for it. So, MJ, your thoughts on that?
I don't.
Again, we're 2010s like diva era right now. So
Yeah, and I like Caitlyn. I don't love Caitlyn at this point, so I don't know if that mixture would have worked. I don't know if I I I do think that would have fallen flat very quickly. I don't know if Caitlyn was as over at that point.
Well, I mean, she got over because the botch of the Battle Royal.
Yeah.
Because if you guys don't know the story, Caitlyn was supposed to not clothesline Eve Torres as hard as she did to be the number one contender, but Eve fell down. Caitlyn became the number one contender and then led to that storyline.
Yeah.
Husky.
Yeah, I don't know how well this would have worked. I think they kind of made the right call to realize, like, we don't really have anything here. Let's just forget this ever happened. Brush it off.
Yeah, the segment is on YouTube if anyone's curious on watching it.
That's why I got excited because I've seen the segment and I've seen.
Yeah, Ryan. Good idea in theory, just execution probably wouldn't have worked at this time.
Yeah, I'm with these guys on that one. I don't really have much to add. I don't see the landscape.
Well, I got a exciting one for this one, and Husky, we'll go with you first. We got Stone Cold versus The Rock versus Mankind at WrestleMania 15. That's what it was. 15. So the story goes is that we had this whole kerfuffle from the start of the year for playing off at the Deadly Games tournament, The Rock being champion, the hot potato between Rock and Mankind. and then that led to Rock versus Steve Austin. But there was internal idea of having this being a triple threat match, and then later there was somebody who likes to break hearts that suggested that the match be Stone Cold versus Mankind, and leaving The Rock out of that position there. I'll give you 3 guesses on who the guy who breaks hearts was that suggested that idea.
Ken Shamrock.
Close.
No, obviously it's Sean.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have seen that, to be honest.
Mhm.
A triple threat between those 3, I think, would have been awesome at Mania.
Yeah.
And it would have given Mick his WrestleMania moment when I think he should have gotten a WrestleMania moment like that. I mean, granted, don't get me wrong, the hardcore match with Edge, beautiful work. But yeah, I think they should have pulled the trigger and let Mick in that. Fuck Shawn Michaels.
So Shawn Michaels just butting himself in business that is not.
It's not even your program, Shawn. Like, what do you care?
He's creative, brother.
Yeah.
So the reason why, Ryan, that this was not a triple threat match and not a singles match is that Shawn Michaels got into Vince's ear saying the WWF title match should be a one-on-one affair. Now, do you agree with that sentiment, or do you think there are special circumstances to make it a triple threat or a fatal four-way? And did you think the Steve Austin, Rock, Mankind would fit that criteria?
At the time and point, there's never been a triple threat match. It's always been a one-on-one at WrestleMania or even barely any other pay-per-views. I think maybe we got one on a Raw. I know ECW had eventually done one at this point, but at this time point, what is this, April, March 1999, there's never been a triple threat match. So there is some stance on Shawn's stance, but I don't want to change history. I think the trilogy, Rock and Austin, did a lot for them historically. I think it did big business for the WWF. I think that it historically is looked upon greatly. And I think historically you have some weight in a potential Cody Roman 3-way because you have predecessors before, like mountains of characters like The Rock and Hogan having historical 3 iterations at WrestleMania. So I don't think that I would want to change that whatsoever. Even though Mick Foley was in 1999 at this time, it was extremely popular and rose up. Fun fact, when I was at where he broke the internet and won the title at the Raw in late 98, and they aired on actually this day in 1999, Richie, April 4th, on January 4th, 1999. Hold on, I didn't realize that when I was starting that sentence, but that was that was Mick Foley's moment, and I don't think I wouldn't have changed history or done it. And again, I guess Shawn maybe is in the weeds a little bit too much, but Vince did do the right thing on leaning on him. It was unprecedented of having a triple threat match. Look how poorly the year after multi-man match went. So Mick ended up getting his WrestleMania main event, right, the year after. And to Husky's points, he had the great Edge match. So maybe the hunger wouldn't be there in 2006 to come back and grasp on to that WrestleMania moment. I'm a definitive no. I would not change it, actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. MJ?
I wouldn't change it either. I'm more pissed than just Shawn just not minding his own business.
Yeah. 90 Shawn is a different beast.
Yeah. He's pilled out of his mind.
Yeah. One of my favorite CM Punk quotes is that Vince told him that Punk was more miserable and more difficult to deal with than Shawn Michaels was ever on drugs.
That's crazy.
That's insane.
When was this Time Lord that he told CM Punk this? Do you recall?
2012, 2013.
That's amazing. I don't know.
That's wild work.
Yeah, it was a not Sam interview. He said that during WrestleMania Row at WrestleMania 29.
Shawn on drugs ruined his friendship with Triple H for 3 years, and we're gonna say Punk's more difficult?
That's what Vince said.
What?
But Vince says a lot of things.
Vince does say a lot of things.
All right, Ryan, we got one of the OG what ifs in this topic. We got the higher power.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so the higher power apparently was always supposed to be Christopher Daniels. Vince Russo liked Christopher Daniels' work, and then Vince McMahon looked at Christopher Daniels and was like, it's too short. And then Christopher Daniels was not the higher power. And there were some circles where people thought it would be Jake Roberts because Jake Roberts was in between contracts, but apparently he was not seriously on the table. It was always supposed to be Christopher Daniels. Daniels never heard this, but apparently that's what always was the plan before. It's me, Austin. Now, Ryan, how bold would it have been to put Christopher Daniels in this top storyline without him being a character already established to the WWF audience?
As a man that is 5'8", no chance, no how. And is Christopher Daniels going to be opposed next to the Undertaker and look as someone that would influence the Undertaker, all 6'10" of him, or whatever they want to present him as the man that holds the strings to the Undertaker's actions in 1999. 1999, in the middle of an Attitude Era, is probably one of the worst creative years that they had. A lot of shit thrown at the wall. You could see a head booker changing 3/4 of the year, way through the year, and perhaps the angst of that was led here. Right call not to go with Christopher Daniels. Does he even have? Yes, I think he's more known for his in-ring work in TNA than his character work in TNA, so to speak.
Mhm.
So I don't even think that anyone would make a case that Christopher Daniels 1999 would be in a position to really excel in this role. Now, Jake would be interesting, but just because of the history, he's like maybe when he left the WWF in '99, it was due to the Undertaker or something, and then you could do like powers, and you could make all that bullshit with magic kind of fall in line. He can come back as the sadistic Jake because when he returned in what was it '96, he was a good guy, reborn again, right? So maybe
Mhm.
there's definitely like layers that you could do with Jake that would have been fun and cool. But what we got the higher power and the corporate ministry and yeah, we got a kind of a down year in WWE, and this was propelled some of it a little bit in a way. The way that the misunfortunes of 2005 WWE creative in the blimp of a boom period, I want to kind of look at is 99 being that in a way, and look how they rebound in 2000. So that keeps side note that keeps you optimistic for 2026, right? So I don't know. I'm a no for me, and I think this one maybe was given an inch and people ran a mile with this one. I don't really think this was seriously considered at all.
I feel like the higher power was more of like, we'll write it in and then we'll ask questions later.
Yeah,
It's just like one of
half
those
empty, half
where,
pregnant. Yeah.
yeah. MJ, what do you think about the higher power? Do you think Christopher Daniels was enough of a bad influence in order to corrupt the
First
Undertaker?
off, great reference. Secondly, I love CD. I love CD a lot. But taking an indie wrestler who had no TV experience and just like, yeah, let's put him in this top storyline is nutty. Like that is. But what is even nuttier is talking about Jake Roberts, who was just filmed in the Beyond the Mat documentary at this time, buying drugs
Crack.
and
By the way.
trying to fix his relationship with his daughter. That's even wilder. So, yeah, no, neither of those work.
Husky?
I mean, it's tough to argue with that kind of logic. Like, dude, yeah, it would have, yeah, given a guy with no TV experience being like, hey, you're going to be the ringleader for like the top heel faction in this company. What? Like, no, no. And I don't think we would have gotten the work that we got out of Chris in TNA if this would have stuck and he would have stayed around in the company. So yeah, I think it was best decision for all involved if they did what they did.
Yeah, plus we wouldn't have gotten It's Me, Austin, or the lovely corporate ministry theme.
That
Oh.
theme is
Kind of really slapped, not gonna lie.
yeah.
MJ, we're gonna throw this next one to you. Now that we did get this matchup, but this match was supposed to be a trilogy until one of the participants decided to back out. Now it is Shawn Michaels versus the Undertaker. Not the Undertaker. Hulk Hogan. So what was supposed to happen? It was supposed to be a 3-match series. It was supposed to be.
Well, you were supposed to get that bullshit 3 times?
Yes. But originally it was supposed to be regular stuff. It was going to be the one-on-one match at SummerSlam, then another match at Unforgiven, and then a third match inside a steel cage where Hulk Hogan would ultimately win. Now,
of course he would have gone over. Of course he would have.
So Hogan agreed to the terms, and originally Shawn Michaels won the story to be, I just got to know who's better, me or the immortal Hulk Hogan. And Hogan did that doesn't work for me, brother. And we're just going to keep it to one match. And then we got the infamous SummerSlam 2005 match where Hogan demanded that Shawn Michaels be a heel. And Shawn Michaels is like, oh, I'd tear him up. And Vince is like, all right, give us that. And then we got a lot of great heel Shawn Michaels in the summer of 2005, including the Bret Hart promo, including the Larry King interview, which is one of my favorites.
Brother. So good.
All right. So, yes, MJ, we were supposed to get this 3 times. Could you handle 3 of Shawn Michaels Hulk Hogan matches?
No. I would rather have 27 more surgeries than have that match 3 times.
Ain't no way.
Well, you didn't like Shawn Michaels, digging his own grave when he was like at SummerSlam?
God. I've watched that match one time in my life.
It's not nearly enough, I'll tell you that much. Husky?
Look, the build to the SummerSlam match might be some of the funniest things that WWE have ever produced.
Yes, the build is great.
I don't think in my heart of hearts that I want that 2 more times. I think the one and done was enough.
Think Shawn would have broken the 4th wall and just started gigging himself in the cage match.
Doing it in the camera.
Yeah. You see, this is what he's doing to me.
If he would have Ian Rotten gigged himself in front of the camera blatantly, and Husky's gonna get that Ian Rotten reference.
Oh yeah.
God.
Ryan, do you think we could handle Shawn and Hogan 3 times? Do you think that if the plan would have gone, we don't get over the top Shawn Michaels?
That was a thing. How invested is Hulk? Because Hulk seems to be about 30% in, right? So Shawn needs to be 170% in to make it 2 full people in, right? Like,
right.
and when we saw Shawn all the way in, we kind of got what we got, and it's comical. But again, like when you look at the names on the marquee, Shawn Michaels versus Hulk Hogan, the 80s versus the 90s, it shouldn't be comical. Right, it shouldn't. You should. They could have done good business. They should have done good business, but I just don't think that you're going to get a full investment in 2005 of Hulk Hogan. So, with all those things said, scenario wise, probably the one and done is right. Do you blame Shawn for doing what he did? I guess not. But just from a marquee standpoint, it kind of sucks. That's what we look at. It's kind of a good match if you can overlook the overselling, so to speak. It's Shawn does a great job of making it work, but I just wish we had all equal parts into this. It could have been something special and worthy of our time.
Yeah, just one of those what ifs if we got that 3 more times. So that means I have to watch the original 3 times in a row. So, Husky, we got a good one right here. It's Rock versus Brock, WrestleMania 30. Now, this was on tap for WrestleMania 30, but of course The Rock pulled every muscle in his abdomen and had to get surgery, and that's actually kind of was a domino effect in Hollywood dealing with professional wrestling, because as John Cena said earlier in the year, he had to pay out of pocket for insurance reasons, and this match for WrestleMania 29 is a big reason why we don't see The Rock more often, because of the jeopardy of more projects. And The Rock even confirmed that WrestleMania 30, he was going to face Brock. And if he does, there's a good chance that the streak stays intact.
I would have loved to have seen Rock and Brock at this time. But then again, where does the streak go?
Cena.
Yeah, Cena would probably be
Oh.
on deck, yeah.
Oh. Yeah, then we wouldn't have got the, what was it, 45-second squash match between Cena and Taker.
Oh, 2 minutes. Let's be generous here.
2 minutes,
45
yeah.
seconds
I mean, Cena was in the audience. He didn't have enough time to stretch and stuff, you know.
Yeah. I had to work gingerly, brother. I was going to pull a hammy.
Just saw Cedric and Mustafa tear it down in the pre-show, and you want me to follow that?
Yeah, you want me to follow that? Ain't no way.
That was a great match. I was in live for that one.
That match was incredible. But yeah, I kind of think that, you know, everything worked out for the reasons that it did. Although seeing Rock and Brock at Mania would have been an insane match, but yeah, I'm kind of with the fact of, you know, everything going as planned was probably the right call.
Ryan?
Yeah, marquee wise, it would have been phenomenal to look at there, right? Again, you're changing history here because of the streak, so it's like you don't want to really pull away from that. But you could have done Cena, and then you could have done Cena versus Taker, and then you could have done Rock and Brock, and that's pretty fucking electric. Daniel Bryan, you ain't getting your moment though.
Yeah.
So you're not. There's a lot of moving parts here for this one. Definitely interesting. Perhaps they could have went back to the well on this one at 32, but then The Rock probably didn't commit, right? So
right,
yeah,
they commit for Eric Rowan though, you know.
Maybe he did commit to a match, but he didn't commit to a build. It looks like, right? Yeah. So yeah, this is weird timing for this one, but it would have been pretty big because you don't really have that Brock's fatigue yet, and the Rock's or really Rock fatigue, right?
Right.
So, yeah, it would have been a place in time. We got it. They could have played into the 2022 Summers or the 2002 SummerSlam match too as well. So
yeah.
MJ?
I think they went the right route. Rock and Brock would have been cool, but maybe it's the sickness in me. I do love the fact that we got Brock pissing everyone off by beating the streak, and the fan and the IWC going crazy. That's always entertaining to me.
And boy, did they.
Yeah.
The visuals of Brock out of nowhere beating the streak is a moment in time. It's a moment some people love, some people hate, but it is a moment in time that you will not forget as a wrestling fan.
All right, guys, we're going to do 3 more, and then we'll wrap it up. Hopefully we get a strong last 3.
Okay.
And now, Ryan, this is actually pretty good because it kind of mixes some old and some new. We got Roman Reigns as the sole survivor in 2014. Now, Roman was out with hernia, and his spot in the Survivor Series match for Team Cena versus Team Authority was opened up, which led to Dolph Ziggler being the sole survivor, which led to Sting's debut. Now, how different would it be if Roman was the sole survivor? Do you think we have the fan base turning on Roman as it did? Because this was right a little bit before the whole CM Punk Art of Wrestling interview where, you know, got to make Roman look really strong. Now, do you think that this would have helped Roman?
So would there have been Sting equity on Roman, right? Because Ziggler can just get the win and then it's all on Sting because Ziggler isn't at that level, right? Or let's just put it this way. Ziggler is not on the presentation that night to be at that level. They try to present Roman at that level, and then how does that make Sting look? Do they do the Sting thing? Is he a part of the finish? Is he a party afterwards? So do they have to have moving parts? Because I wouldn't really want to necessarily move anything they do that night because I think it's done really well. It's interesting. So
because it would make sense that Roman and Seth would be the final 2 because they were kind of like, you know, that would be their first meetup kind of.
And you're playing into the Authority and the Shield breakup, Rollins leaving for the Authority, right? So you could
which would make the cash in that much more effective.
Yeah. You play into that too. What, 4 months later? So yeah, I think it's a happy coincidence in a way that it went with the Ziggler route. You get the Sting stuff, and then it just kind of it's more a little bit more memorable, and they have such a rich history between Roman and Seth that it doesn't feel like it's necessary. Even
Mhm.
though on that night, everything seemed to work. So this is an interesting one, Richie, for sure. But I think staying pat is probably safe, really.
MJ.
I hmm. You see, I would have liked Roman. You playing into that the Shield breakup and adding more onto that, I think would have been great. Um, the Sting stuff, I it's weird because I hate saying this, but that the Sting run in the WWE was so like it was a cool moment, but it didn't.
There wasn't going to be any longevity towards it.
Yeah, and it's just like, do we want to keep like the short term, like let's make the older not older but the wrestling fans happy to just for nostalgia aspect,
Mhm.
like, so I think I would have, yeah, I would have preferred Roman.
All right. Husky.
Yeah, I kind of agree with both points. It's like, yeah, it would have been cool to see, you know, Roman be the sole survivor there. I think it may have rejuvenated fans' image on Roman to go through that. But with Roman in there, I think it would have taken away from Sting's debut, even though, yeah, that whole run was literally just Vince having one last chance to say, "We won the war. You're gonna be staring at the lights for my son-in-law."
Yeah.
Like, yeah, so yeah, it would have been a cool thing to see, but like kind of all things considered, I think it was kind of the right call to have Ziggler fill in that spot because yeah, like Ryan was saying, like yeah, Ziggler can win the match, fine,
Mhm.
not take any focus off of the Sting debut.
MJ, you keep getting the fun ones, so I'm very,
Of course
very
I
happy
do.
for you.
I hope it's controversial. I'm not gonna lie.
Uh, got the imposter Kane is the real Kane. So in 2006, there was a storyline
Oh,
of
okay.
of
This is crazy.
May 19th. Now, May
No.
19th
May
is See No
19th.
Evil's debut, I think on DVD or something like that.
Yes.
And that was coincidentally in storyline. Kane said that's when his parents' graves got caught on fire by the Undertaker, but we're not going to
Yeah.
talk about that part because they dropped it. So during this entire thing, the Titantron starts playing image of Kane's old mask, and Kane was then dropped by somebody who dressed like Masked Kane. Now, the storyline was supposed to be that Kane accuses this masked man of being someone he roomed with at the psych ward. But in the ironic twist of fate, the Kane that we've been seeing on television, bald Kane, with the
Yeah. Yeah.
pants, is actually the fake Kane who's the guy from the mental institution, and the real Kane was the imposter Kane as they tried to portray as. Because as the story goes, the real Kane was Glenn Jacobs, mayor now. I'm not sure if you guys know that, but he was the psych ward guy who was contemplating retirement. He was contemplating retirement for real in 2006. Just for the record, his last full time matchup was probably in 2016. So, contemplating retirement, and the storyline was concocted to write Kane off of television while still keeping the Kane gimmick. Now, MJ, how you feeling about Kane?
So there's irony in you giving me this storyline?
Did you just watch it?
No, because Fake Kane debuted May 29th, 2006 at the Tacoma Dome in Washington.
Mhm.
I was at this event. It was my first WWE show ever.
And you still went back?
You went back.
So yeah, um, mm, I'm glad they did what they did, but I found it funny. But yes, I was at the show where Gallows debuted as Fake King. And I remember like the group of people I was sitting next to with my uncle, like, what the fuck is happening? What the fuck is this shit? I was in the 7th grade and I was even like, I think I'm done. Like,
I think I might be done here.
yeah.
I like how it's like not done with wrestling, just done.
Yeah.
I'm just done.
Because that was the weirdest Raw ever because you got the Fake Kane, but you also get Kurt Angle getting drafted to ECW.
Oh, those were on the same show.
Yes.
You know, it was center-owned bald guys too.
Yes. With Mick Foley and Paul Heyman's like debacle and like meeting in the ring with the podiums. Yeah, it was a strange Raw.
Strange.
But yeah,
time.
I'm happy they went the route they did. Sorry, Luke Gallows.
It was strange because Husky, they had a match at Vengeance where the imposter Kane won, and then the next night, Kane just takes the mask off and just throws Luke Gallows outside the arena, and that was the end of the story.
Yeah.
They did my man Doc Gallows dirty with that.
And then he
They
comes
did my
back a
boy
few months
dirty.
later in the SES.
Yeah. And apparently the reason why the storyline got written off really quickly was because of the debut. The hair and the wig that they used was all poofy.
Yeah.
Like it was just like it was not the right hair. They fixed it in later appearances, but the damage was done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah, it was rough. It was real rough.
I remember they showing him on screen, and we were all like, "Fuck, he doesn't look like Kane at all." There's the body stature. Luke Gallows is a little skinnier. Like it was.
Yeah.
Big shoulders with skinny waist.
Yeah.
Yeah. The whole thing was just bad news.
The fact
Bad
that
news
this is
bears.
the storyline you give me after perfect.
All right, Ryan, what do you feel about Imposter Kane, and do you think the storyline sounds better on paper than it did in execution?
Well, you got the See No Evil tie-in, I guess, right? But what was the goal of this for Glenn Jacobs Kane? Because I will say it is memorable. Every time May 19th comes up, you know why. Right?
Yeah.
It is memorable, right? And then you get like Sean doing the shirt with Rob Conway. It like
Oh, poor Rob.
So
Rob's theme song is underrated.
Yeah.
No, it sounds like Randy Newman, and I don't like it.
It sounds like Randy Newman. You got a friend in me.
That's how it was. That was his theme song.
It really was.
Just look at me.
Anyways,
Sorry, I just really don't like his theme song.
I think in theory it's a theme song, but we're not gonna. But in theory, this is also a good storyline. But with like, kind of to my point earlier, like everyone just felt like half pregnant with it. Everyone felt a little bit in. No one felt 100% in. They're trying to tie in a storyline, but are they trying to evolve the Kane character? Are they trying to do something separate with Glenn Jacobs? I don't know. It's just like a swing and a miss and a blimp in history. But that's kind of low-key Kane a lot of the time in the WWF, if you think about it.
Yeah. Like, and what's funny about it is that like he was contemplating retirement, and then this story caused him to go for another 10 years.
Yeah. Corporate Kane had to happen. Thank you, Luke Gallows.
My favorite Corporate Kane moment was like I was like WWE used to do like the like little chat logs for like the Rumble on their website.
Yes.
And Finn Balor was a guest during the 2015 Rumble. And he was like going for Corporate Kane, and everybody's like just destroying this Rumble because 2015 was not a good Rumble. And you just see Finn Balor in the chat going, Corporate Kane!
Corporate Kane!
Like he's like having the time of his life. So, Husky, you're the last one with the last prompt here.
Oh boy, here we go.
We're still on the theme of Kane, and I didn't I didn't. I swear, I didn't do this on purpose. The wheel chose it.
Glenn's
Katie
getting
Vick.
a lot of push on this episode.
It's Katie Vick. It's Katie Vick. I'm just
Oh,
gonna rip. I'm gonna rip the Band-Aid up. Yeah, there's more. There. Yeah, Katie Vick was supposed to be a little bit different. Believe it or not. So, Brian
He
Gewirtz.
popped up as you said that.
So Brian Gewirtz, lovely WWE head writer for years and years. This was during a time in 2002 where Vince wanted more soap opera-esque stories.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Katie Vick was, of course, one of them. Now, a lot of people asked, morbidly curious people asked, why Katie Vick was the name chosen. And that's because on the road, there was a developmental wrestler named Scott Vick.
Sick boy.
So it was supposed to be Scott Vick's debut, and he was going to go against Kane. And I think Ryan and I, we were talking about this off. It was ECW Sick Boy. That was
WCW. Yeah.
WCW.
Yeah.
Sick Boy.
Oh shit!
So that was going to be his initial call-up, was this storyline.
Oh shit!
There was also talk about, since Kane was the Intercontinental and the Tag Team Champion at the time, that he would win the world title and then hold all 3 belts. You know, the Bob Holly special.
Yeah.
So those were the 2 things that stood out to me. Was like, one, Kane was going to win the title and beat everybody. And there was another one where this was meant for a developmental wrestler's call-up. So it wasn't just going to be disturbing stuff just for the sake of disturbing stuff. It also had a purpose.
Look, if we would have got anything other than what we got, it'd be a plus.
Facts.
Just, oh my God. I also haven't spent this much time talking about Kane, like, ever.
Yeah,
That's what the wheel wanted.
the wheel wanted us to talk about Glenn Jacobs. Anything, like I said, anything would have made it better. Sure, have Sick Boy come up, take a violent L to Kane.
A violent L. Not just a violent one.
A violent one. Like, just have Kane just fuck him up for 20 minutes or whatever. And not have Triple H bang a mannequin in a coffin. Like, just please.
Apparently, there were 2 versions of that filmed.
Oh, God.
That's wild.
There was one that we saw on television and another one that was over the top comedic. Vince wanted Triple H to play it straight. And the most screwed up part about that is there was an actual funeral service going on in the next room.
I remember that. I remember hearing about that.
I did not hear about that second latter part.
Yeah, there's a straight up funeral going on in the next room, and people kept like walking out like, what the hell are they doing in here? Like, why is this guy in a mask humping a coffin? What's going on here?
I hate everything about
layer I
this.
was not ready for. I didn't remember that one.
If they would have went with like the over the top comedic one, it wouldn't be as bad, probably.
But no, they played it straight.
But the fact that they played it straight makes it so much worse. Oh God, I'm gonna need to take 2 showers after this podcast. Yeah, anything other than what we got. That's my answer.
Ryan.
So the Sick Boy part is interesting, right? Like, I don't think he's good enough to carry the weight on that, right? So it's just like, it's not like developmental at that time was flushed with talented wrestlers like we've seen in recent past. This is like bare bones developmental. We got this guy from WCW. He's got a good look. Let's kind of write the storyline that propels him on TV, and then Triple H humps a corpse. That's kind of the root of it. Like, are they? This is post brand split, so they're maybe shuffling out new ideas. But this feels like they're going down a trail mix of ideas of just really tying in a lot of a nothing. Vince wanting the romantic stuff. Did you say romantic, Richie?
Look, that's what he wanted. He wanted it to be played straight, like very serious.
Yes.
That is.
And then
I just like how the story of Kane, he was in a mental institution for X amount of years, but he was let out in good behavior in high school to have a girlfriend named Katie.
Yeah. least they have flavors.
I like how that's the positive side.
I don't-
There's more background.
Yeah.
Towards it.
So
There's more lore.
Yeah,
Oh.
in 2002 we hump a Deb Corpse. 2003 we want incest angles. Yeah, this is just like the dregs of the Attitude Era kind of leaking into the Ruthless Aggression Era. It's more funny than not. I'm glad it happened so we can kind of have things to laugh about and talk about and just compare the modern day stupidityness to. It'd be like, all right, ain't that bad. We're not humping corpse. But yeah, this is just a big swing and a miss. This is just bad taste. This is a lot of bad of a lot. Poor Sick Boy though. Like, they didn't really get the push he kind of got.
MJ, we're gonna finish with you with this lovely thought. I'm glad we saved you for last.
So, this would have been way better than what happened, because what had happened actually stopped me watching from WWE for 3 years.
Cheers.
But Sick Boy actually is when the flock recently reunited at WrestleCade, he was doing interviews talking about this, and I guess he was getting told from Les Satcher, because he was at HWA in Cincinnati, and he was told by Les that Vince and the higher ups were really, really high up on him and like wanting him on the main roster. But so I think this would have been way better than the storyline, and I wish we would have gone that Sick Boy on WWE roster. There's a lot of talent in HWA that I think should have been put, because that was like a forgotten developmental system where they just kind of let people, let their contracts run and then
The point
go
of
off
no return.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen. Thank you so much. We didn't get to all 50. Didn't intend to, because we always got to save stuff for a part 2.
Yeah.
But thank you guys for traveling back to alternate timelines of what could have been. And I think we're in agreement that a lot of these stories sound better in theory, or didn't sound better at all. But it's better that it didn't happen for the most part. So I'm going to go around the round table. That's a double entendre there, around the round table. And you guys got to plug your stuff, see where we can catch you. And Ryan, I'll start with you.
All right, North-South Connection. Post shows, previews, all that stuff. Nostalgic podcasts, all that stuff. Check that out. But if you're on the webs, head over to rankwrestling.com. Rolling that out later this month for the launch. Been working on it for a few years. Just like a star rating, statistic website based around wrestling and so on and so forth. So check out the cards. Made some baseball cards for the wrestlers, stats, stuff like that. Rolling it out. I'm not sure what it is yet, but we're rolling with it, Richie. So there's that.
That's always a good thing, You've been working on the project for a long time, and I can't wait to see the finished product.
Yes, but
MJ?
if you get Richie Mars, he's with me a lot on the no-so.
Yep, Cronoso. Always check out Cronoso whenever those drop. Yep. Always like being a guest on there. I actually watched the Shawn Michaels Kato match from MSG in '91. A lot of nerve holds.
That will be out this week, Richie.
Yep, can't wait. You get to see my thrilling commentary on that. And the nerve hold. MJ.
MJ Duplessis on all social media platforms. World Championship Wreckage, doing Netflix and Raw, or me, the Pro Wrestling Wizard Doug, and the Ring Queen Michaela watch Monday Night Raw live. Come hang out with us there. And Learning the Ropes on Cole TV. I host every other Thursday. By the time this comes out, I would have already interviewed independent wrestling legend Reckless Youth.
Ooh,
sweet.
So be on the lookout for that.
All right, Husky Rhodes.
You can follow me on Instagram at the Husky Rhodes. You can follow me on TikTok at Widow River 912. I sing and play guitar for a band called Widow River. We're going to be dropping our EP February 12th on Bandcamp. I'll be sure to post links for that whenever that gets out. You can also catch me doing Husky's Hot Takes on PW60 over at Cole TV. And at some point, I think Mike, Bree, and I might eventually revamp Queens Court if schedules get better.
That'd be nice.
But yeah, that's basically where you can find me.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining me on What Could Have Been in WWE Edition. Who knows? Maybe I'll find some WCW, ECW, TNA, AEW, or any just like things in general that could have been. But that is for next time for a cliffhanger for all of you. You could follow Wrestling Retold Relived at Richie Mars with Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts. And you can follow me on the TikTok at Retold Richie Mars, as well as Instagram. Like to put up polls on Instagram to see people's thoughts on modern day wrestling tropes and stories. But again, Richie Mars here, TTFN, Tata for now, and I will see you next time.